Tropical Acres Steakhouse.
Hold the Mayo. It's time for Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Find out what's being served with Mike, Beefo, and Luby, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the flim flam sauce with the awesome fave, with shafafa on the side.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another road edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Today, coming to you from one of my favorite spots, the Pizza Spot in Fort Lauderdale. And waiting to get us loaded up onto the Let's Eat South Florida group, which passed the 140,000 barrier the other day. It is absolutely nuts. But we have a special guest today joining us on the show. And it is, some people would call him a polarizing figure. Some people would wonder what he has to do with food or the local food scene or pizza. And I say I'm a man that's always intrigued by pretty much anybody who is interested in food and anybody who was also maybe been around the edges of world events, national events, local politics, national politics. Is Mr. Roger Stone. Welcome to the Lunchbox.
Mike, thanks for having me. I would hope that pizza, which is what we're going to dine on today, transcends politics. Because I'm from Connecticut, I'm an aficionado of the New Haven style of pizza, which is exploding in South Florida, as you know, suddenly. Used to have to make the pilgrimage to either Sally's or Pepe's, or the Spot right there on Worcester Street. I actually took Ronald Reagan to Worcester Street, and he toured and stopped at Pepe's.
Now, in Connecticut, did they pronounce it with like that Massachusetts Worcester? That's Abitz instead of, but Worcester, where I went to school in Boston, pronounced Worcester, but Worcester Street in Connecticut was still pronounced Worcester.
If you lived in Fairfield County, it was, yeah.
Okay. And I'm sorry to interrupt, but go ahead. So, I mean, you were born in Norwalk, which
Correct.
is a stone's throw, I guess, from New Haven. And so I guess tell me about your first pizza experiences growing up. And was it in New Haven, or it was a town in Westchester County, right?
Actually, the place I went first was a restaurant called Phil Baker's. Phil Baker was a prize fighter, and he had a full service Italian restaurant. And the pizza was extraordinary. In fact, I've never been able to find any place on the face of the planet that could duplicate it. It was the greatest pizza I'd ever had. And then when they built the new Route 7, it went right through the middle of where Phil Baker's restaurant was. I literally used to count money out of a jar until I had enough to buy a pizza, and I would drive my bicycle, take my cousins. We would ride our bicycles to Phil Baker's Pizza. It was the pizza that I still dream about.
It's funny that you mentioned Phil Baker's Pizza. I had look, I grew up in Brooklyn, and I had all these great pizza shops and the slice joints around the Farah's back in the day before it got blown up and known by every foodie.
Yep.
There was a place near me named Giorgio's Pizza out in Bergen Beach, which is the neighborhood I grew up, Mill Basin. But then there was the great pie joints in Brooklyn. That was Totono's and Coney Island. I love that. Patsy's and Grimaldi's under the Brooklyn Bridge. You know, all these great pizza joints. And but when I went to camp, I was actually a Boy Scout, went to Boy Scout camp in Narrowsburg, New York. There was a little tavern up there called Baker's Tavern, not Phil Baker's, but I think it was Fred was his name. But he made the greatest little tavern pie, and it was so back in the day. I mean, I've come to appreciate all styles of pizza, and I don't like when I hear down here people talking about, oh, it's not New York and you can't get a good pizza here. And like, I think you can get great pizza in South Florida, including right here, a Pizza Spot, which is, I don't know if it's a completely faithful representation of New Haven Abitz, but it's pretty darn close. And I think he makes it even better out of a wood-fired oven instead of the coal-fired that you find at Pepe's and stuff.
I don't disagree. I think the Pizza Spot here is the best of the best. And there's a lot of good spots. And I like I like the Neapolitan pie, the Nebulodon. I like that too. I like different styles. It's interesting. Mimi Sheridan used to be the food critic for the New York Times. She wrote up Phil Baker's as her ideal pizza. I read that a couple years ago.
Interesting.
There used to be a spot in Stratford, Connecticut called the Frog Pond, where they made a tavern pie. First, where I began to appreciate the scamotes. I didn't understand the significance of the scamotes cheese.
So we welcome Mike Luby Lubitz to the
Hello.
show. How are you today, Luby?
I had a busy day, and I'm excited for today's show. It's always great. We
You're
haven't been here in
making
a while.
money
so
on the side. Before we
making
started.
money on the place.
That's
trying to be
great.
like this gentleman in between us. Excited to be here. Pizza Spot. It's been a while. But I'm curious. Okay, so and I give Mayo a lot. His name's Mike Mayo. Call him Mayo. A lot of crap for this pizza because I've grown up. The mozzarella or whatever the forms of cheeses they use on pizza to me makes a pie, right? I get it. It's the sauce, the bread. We've learned bread is a key
Dough. We call
part
it dough.
about the dough.
The dough.
Is a key part of it.
The San Marzano tomatoes has to be San Marzano.
San Marzano.
I
but-
believe Wade does not use San Marzano.
He's
He
big on his
uses a
own.
California tomato
Well-
that is the same used by Pizza Bianco in Arizona. Unless you have intel otherwise.
Well, we may need to. I mean, this is a very key.
I think between the journalist and the political, we might be able to get to the bottom
Yeah,
of this.
exactly.
When I'm cooking, and I cook a mean Sunday gravy, and if you're from Connecticut, you call it.
You're
gravy.
half Italian, half Sicilian.
I'm Italian from the waist down,
Oh, jeez.
and Sicilian, as a matter of fact.
Oh, wow.
and
uh,
that means you never forget or forgive, or what?
Well, I'm half Italian and half Hungarian. That means
I've got
that
a
I'm
quarter
sentimental when I stab you in the chest.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus.
Exactly.
My maternal grandmother, rest in peace. She was from the area that was kind of changed boundaries, but it was Hungary, Austria.
Right.
But I love a good goulash, and I can't find a good goulash.
Try
around
finding
here.
good stuffed cabbage. I mean,
Anyway, we're loaded up on the Let's Eat group. We're here with Roger Stone, and okay, he is a man known for sartorial splendor. I'm a man that he says he's never, I guess, bought off the rack suits. He was in his teens, over 40 years. I'm a man who goes decades without buying a jacket or tie.
Exactly.
He is a man who has been in the corridors of power and has presidents on his, text exchanges. I'm a man who sometimes calls and texts with Luby and Defo, who could not be with us today. And
eats
you,
pasta with chopsticks.
and you are a man who, you love food, among other things. Now, on the Let's Eat group, I say some restaurants are what I call polarizing places. You are what's known, I guess, as a polarizing figure. But I say to those who are wondering, why are you here? It's because I will break bread or garlic bread, cheesy garlic bread, with anybody that wants to kind of talk and is passionate about food. So that's where I come from. And I'm glad that, that we're able to do this.
well, we'll definitely pick up some haters today, but that's the way it is. We're here to talk about pizza. I would hope that pizza would be
Binds us.
would bind us together. There's nothing better than a great pizza, and this is, without any question, great pizza. If you haven't been to the Pizza Spot, folks, in Fort Lauderdale, there is none better. There's a lot of great pizzas in South Florida. Like I said, there's been this implosion of New Haven pizza now in South Florida.
Yeah.
Frank Pepe's, which is, used to be the Mecca, across the street from Sally's. Now, if the people at Pepe's saw you go to Sally's across the street in Worcester Street in Fort Lauderdale, you were not warmly welcomed back, and vice versa.
Really? It was that much of like a turf war?
Very, very much a
Kind of
rivalry.
like Pat's and Geno's with the cheesesteaks
Right.
in Philly. Yeah.
I actually preferred Sally's,
Okay.
but they were both great.
How about modern? I became turned on to modern when I would visit a friend that lived up in New Haven, and I know it came along later, and it uses a kind of oil blended oven. But I love their pizza. I like their dough and everything.
I've not checked it out.
Wow. Okay.
It's not all that safe for me to go to New Haven anymore. It's a college town. So, but there's also a place called The Spot. So when the line got too long at Sally's and Pepe's, and there was always a line, folks would go into The Spot, and they turned out a great pie.
That was the
as well.
Spot affiliated with Pepe's. That's what I thought. A friend of mine from Connecticut told me that it was kind of like their backdoor
Offshoot.
back
The
channel
overflow
place.
No,
Yeah.
that's entirely possible. Anyway, as you know, Frank Pepe's is open to outposts here. I think
Here,
one is in Pembroke Pines.
One
I
in
think.
plantation.
Right. And in all honesty, based on my analysis, the the pizza, if it's done properly, this is how Wade does it, has to cook about 8 minutes at 800 degrees.
Mhm.
And I don't think the local ordinances will allow them to have their oven at 800. So if it's slightly lesser, means you have to cook the pizza longer, which has a tendency to dry the bottom out a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's what I
Mm.
That's why
encountered.
you get that crispier bottom, which to me sometimes is too hard.
I encountered that at the Pepe's that they opened up in Delray Beach. I guess it was sometime in the middle of last year, where it was just very dry, almost cracker-esque, cardboard-esque, and it needs a little moisture. Like, I don't know if you want to do a quick review. We tried. I guess you hadn't had before what Wade calls the plain pizza.
So yeah, and so I was
It's
actually
known as a
asking
tomato
because
pie.
I've given him. I know it's pure and whatever, but the cheese to me is an integral part. The layer of cheese. I saw you sit down, and that was sort of your move was to try it, and that's how you know real deal New Haven place. Why is this such a special pizza up north? Why then do we not see every other style of pizza trying it? Oh, I know his take. I'm curious about your take.
First of all, we refer to it as the tomato pie.
Yeah.
The tomato pie.
You can find it in Atlantic City, by the way, in the Ducktown section. They have it there. My personal attorney, Grant Smith, has it for breakfast. It's one of his favorite takeaways for breakfast.
It's less cheese. I mean, they do
It's lower
use
in
a
calories.
sprinkle of
There is
pecorino romano
Right,
cheese.
there is cheese on it. It's kind of a misnomer, but
Right.
it's a little lighter, I guess.
A lot lighter, and I think it
It's
actually
amazing.
this one we just had, when you have it straight from the oven, it has that little bit of the give and the bounce and the chew in the dough, along with the crispiness on the bottom and the char, which some people mistakenly refer to as burnt. It's not burnt, it's charred. Do we agree on that part?
It's crucial. If there's no burnt edges, then it's not New Haven pie.
All right. So I see that, you talk about your pizza past and how you grew up around it with the culture. There's a place now that I guess is just opened up in Pompano Beach that's not New Haven pizza, but it's a place that I guess made its name in Stamford, Connecticut, and it's called, was it Rico's Pizza? Riko, I believe. Yeah, Rico's Pizza. And they're now franchising and going around the country, but they're known for very thin, crisp pizza that they put hot oil into the onto the pie, so you get like a little bit of a spice and a bite as you eat it without having to put on the red pepper flakes. Have you tried that?
I have not. I have not tried it. I've read about it. I will check. I will go there. I'll probably wear a COVID mask and dark glasses, but I will definitely go there because anytime a new place opens, I mean, I really do follow this. So I've been, for example, to Mr. O1's here in town.
Mhm.
Completely different than this.
Do you like it?
I do like it, but it's wafer thin, very very thin. I find their ordinary pies better than their specialty pies.
Right. I think the ones that have that they're known for folding in some ricotta and stuffing into these kind of like star pointed tips
that's
on the
nice.
crust. I find that gimmicky, and I don't like that pizza as much as their
Totally
regular
agree.
pizza.
That sounds interesting.
To me, I know that's opened up here, and the whole Forza scene has also gotten more crowded at a place called Pomerella that opened, which is more Neapolitan pies on the edge of the performing arts district here. To me, Wade still makes the best pie. I love the integrity. He makes every pie himself, artisan, which is something, and he refuses to deal with third-party delivery apps or even having delivery, because everybody come in, pick pizza themselves, eat it fresh and hot, because that's the way pizza is meant to be eaten. Correct?
Yeah, this is nirvana. This is the epitome of great New Haven pizza. Now, I'm also candidly, I'm an aficionado of Abit's.
Right.
They've got an outpost in
Delray. Yep.
Their white clam pizza is extraordinary. An old New Haven tradition.
Yeah.
Many people are not familiar, but they do it. They do an amazing job.
I've lobbied Wade from the day he opened. Like, when are you going to get the clam pizza on?
Yeah,
He goes,
Pepe's and Plantation does it. That's what I tried it for the first time. That was delicious. I really enjoyed it.
again, garlic, parsley,
Yep.
olive oil, sometimes
Simple,
a little bit
nice.
of white cheese. But Wade just says he can't get the whole balance right of getting a steady supply of clams, so he does not feature the white clam pie here. But you're right, it is also a New Haven staple, and something that's absolutely delicious. It has that sea brininess. I'm going to hit you with a quote. One of yours, I guess, wrote a book, but also have been known through the years for dispensing like pearls of wisdom about lifestyle, eating, fashion, politics. And I guess, what do you call them? Rogers Rules or just Stones?
Stone's Rules.
Stones Rules.
Book I wrote in 2015. Tucker Carlson wrote the introduction.
Well, this one I got from a profile by Tubin in the New Yorker, and it said one of your rules was get your carbs from booze, not potatoes, rice, pasta, or bread. But here we are, gorging on some high carb lunch material.
But Stone's Rules also says pizza is like sex, even when it's bad. It's still
good.
pretty good.
That's actually what Mayo says.
That's one of my rules.
What Mayo says.
I grew up. I even like the hideous Ilio's pizza, the frozen pizzas that I used to always have it. My mom would always have it in the freezer, and invariably sometimes toss it in the toaster oven.
Tree Tavern was the one we had at home back in the old days.
And you're right. Even bad pizza, I'll end up. You know what? I have a weird, just proclivity to even seek out really bad pizza and then still enjoy it, particularly at bowling alleys and sporting venues.
Particularly when it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you're smashed.
Yeah, that's true.
Wade, by the way, makes a hell of a meatball. The meatball grinder.
Well, let's give credit where it's due to Reese, who runs the shop.
Is the better half.
And she is the one who always makes the meatball mix. 100% beef. 100% delicious and 100% underpriced. I keep telling them, I can't believe, because you go around town. I don't know. Do you go to some of the other?
Well, I was just going to ask, how often do you get out and about to go and eat? I feel like it's not easy for you to go out and get a meal.
I gravitate to places with great pizzas. There's a new spot called Verino's. It's a Neapolitan style pizza. It's on Sunrise. It's very good. They turn out a nice pie. I like Cafe Europa, has a very thin pie.
I didn't even realize they did pizza at Cafe Europa.
It's absolutely amazing. Now, if you're carrying out, you can get large. But if you're eating in, they only sell the personalized smaller size. Their no-name pizza, which is with gorgonzola cheese and capers, absolutely amazing.
All right, because I know Cafe Europa has great pastas and desserts, especially. I always sometimes I go in there and just get dessert and some coffee. I love. It's been a long time staple on Las Olas Boulevard. But talking about meatballs, I think they still only charge like $6 for the whole, 3 big meatballs with a nice dollop of ricotta cheese here. Whereas sometimes you go to Cafe Martorano and it's like $30 for one meatball.
And you can't hear anything whatsoever.
No.
I mean, look, Cafe Martorano is it's a nightclub with good food as opposed to a restaurant. So if you want to have a conversation, you got to go at 6:30.
Right. It's a discotheque after 9 o'clock, 8:30.
It just becomes a scene.
Yeah. Have you been to the new Runway 84 yet?
I've been there once. It's now I would call that a supper club now rather than a restaurant. The food remains solid.
Yep.
But again, pretty loud. They have when I was there, they had a full orchestra play.
They have a great bar though, and they make a heck of a martini. I understand that vodka martinis are the drink of your choice.
They are. They make a hell of a martini there, and it's redone in this very cool Art Deco theme. It's unlike the old runway where I don't think they changed the tablecloths in the last 20 years.
So, you're a guy who's been, spent time in DC, in New York, now down here in South Florida. What do you think overall of the dining scene, as it compares to some of the Northeastern spots? And, I always hear people complaining of like, New York is better than blah, blah, blah for X. And I say you could still find pretty much anything at really high quality down here in South Florida. You just got to maybe do a little hunting and know where to go.
Yeah, I agree with that. There was a place in DC called AV Ristorante. It was open in the 20s. They were out on New York Avenue in an area right next to the police station, but which became, a distressed area. The family now lives in Fort Lauderdale. Great people, the Vassallos. And I would go there literally every Friday night. They turned out an amazing pizza. Long gone now. Ultimately, the property they were on became so valuable for the rebuilding of the new convention center that they sold out. A friend of mine posted a picture of it the other day, Mike Caputo, with a picture of the restaurant, and he said, when you know, you know. It was the place where all the Italian-American politicians, regardless of party, would be seen. So Antonin Scalia, the Supreme Court Justice, would be there. Matt Rinaldo, the congressman from New Jersey, would be there. it didn't matter party with both parties, but all the great Italian American political leaders ate there. It was very dark. The food was heavy. The summertime they did an amazing soft shell crab. They would fry up soft shell crabs. So you'd have pizza and soft shells. It was unreal.
Nice.
I miss it.
I
I had every one of my birthdays there. I had all my anniversaries there. It was a great restaurant. Long gone.
At one point, you were known for like being a weightlifter. I was talking to you a little bit before the show. Do you still lift weights? Or are you still?
Once you kind of have it, muscles have memory. You come back pretty good. I'm not in as good a shape as I was in my younger days, but in order to eat like this and keep your cholesterol reasonable, you have to get in the gym. You have to get out and run. So I still try to do cardio 3 times a week, and I still get into the gym and lift 3 times. To stuff it in because I'm doing at Rumble. It's rumble.com/Roger Stone at 8:00 at night. We pre-tape during the day, and then I'm doing a WABC New York radio show every Sunday afternoon from 4 to 6. And there's a lot of discussion to talk of food there. This very past weekend, by popular request, I laid out my grandmother's, therefore my mother's family recipe for meatballs.
Okay.
And I had many
Was it
requests.
what was her? Can I ask? Is it a 3 meat blend
Yeah,
or
what's
a
the
Yes,
straight-
it was 1/3 pork, 1/3 beef. If you can take out a mortgage, 1/3 veal. And then the key to it, I mean, it's a longer recipe, obviously, but I put a Pyrex dish in the bottom of the oven with a couple water in it. I brown the meatballs first, little olive oil, garlic, onion, the same pan I use to saute those ingredients for the actual meatball mix. Then I brown them on a cookie sheet, a baking sheet, at 350, for about 40 minutes. After browning them, always flipping around to make sure they didn't go flat on any side, of course, so they remain round. And then you dump them in your gravy. And it's very popular.
And you do this each Sunday. Sunday gravy. When people use that term, that's a staple. That's
I do it-
regulatory. Okay.
So I buy the every day, so it's always fresh.
Okay.
What I usually do is rather than ground pork, I get the uncased pork sausage, which already has the fennel and the garlic and the pepper in it, which saves you some time and very flavorful.
And how long does it take you to prepare your gravy? Because if you're using that word, that's serious.
Yeah, it's about 4 hours.
Wow.
I mean, the key thing is to never rush.
Now I assume you use only San Marzano.
Only San Marzano. And not only this is very important. You got to look very carefully. On some cans, it will say San Marzano style tomatoes.
Mm.
That is a complete fugazi. Okay.
Okay. And you can take, the difference.
I can taste the difference.
Instant. Okay.
Yeah. San Marzano is not a brand.
When you see those,
No,
do
it's
you
a style.
stand up and say fraud, fake tomatoes?
I take pictures of it. Yeah, and I posted it on my social media.
Jeez.
But San Marzano is not a brand. There's a lot of good.
No, it's a region.
Cento has a good. A good.
And I don't know what they're going for now. I know when I used to buy it, it used to be $3.79 a can. It's probably up to $4.99 or $5.99 a can these days. I haven't made it in a while because I've just gotten lazy and I just buy the jarred sauces from Carbone and Rayo's, which are pretty darn good for jarred sauces. Is that a sin?
Well, I was going to say, will you eat a sauce that's not?
Only one. Michael's of Brooklyn.
Hey, that's my guy.
Michael's of
That's
Brooklyn.
interesting. That's what he's talking about.
It's the best.
Fun fact, Michael's of Brooklyn, which is near where I grew up on Avenue R, and they started as a restaurant's been there for, 40 years or so. I had my 50th birthday celebration there with my late parents, and they started off by jarring the sauce in the basement. They would puree and grind up the tomatoes and actually jar the sauce in the basement. It's gotten much bigger. They've now, I guess, licensed it out to a bigger food distributor. But Michael, I don't know if you realize this, is a cousin of Anthony Bruno.
Oh, really?
The Pope of the local
That
Italian
makes a lot
food
of sense.
scene. Anthony Bruno, of course, from Runway 84, who
Yes.
started the Anthony's
Anthony's
Coal Fire
Coal-Fired.
Pizza.
Yes.
So when Anthony told me that, I was like, I wish I knew. I would have gotten the family discount. Maybe.
So I actually met him at Runway one night for
Michael's
dinner.
okay,
Michael.
nice. Okay.
Michael.
But I used to be on occasionally with Joe Piscopo on his radio show, and they were one of his sponsors. And but he didn't ask me. I would just go in there and do a prompt,
Raving
you know,
about
a promo because it's the only jarred sauce that I will use in the
Oh
house.
wow.
It's good. A
Did we try it?
Yeah, we did. We did a blind taste testing of all these
I
jarred
don't remember that
sauces
one.
right here 1 year ago. I can't believe it's been a year, where we had some professional chefs and other Italians, Americans, and experts. We did blind taste testing, and at that time, Carbone wasn't out yet, but Rayo's rated very highly. I was surprised because Michael's did not rate as highly as I thought, because I used to always keep Michael's in the cupboard. I still like it, but on blind taste testing, like too strong on some of the fake herbs, but again, it's a great product. I do like the they have different styles. They have one they call Sunday gravy, which
Puttanesca,
they have the puttanesca. It's a good product.
straight marinara. It's still the one I swear by. I've used Rayo's. I prefer Michael's.
Speaking of Rayo's, do you go to the one in Manhattan? Have you been? I've never been there, and then I haven't been to the one that they opened up at the Lowe's in South Beach. And
I have been to the one in New York many years ago. It was rather distasteful because Al D'Amato was there.
you didn't like Al?
well,
You didn't play poker with him?
Al was kind of a boorish figure, let's just say.
Okay.
And I clashed with him in politics over a number of things. It was good, but Mikey didn't miss anything.
Okay. To me, it always seemed like more hype and celebrity
Yeah,
That's what it
worship
feels like.
than-
Yeah, that's what it feels
Because
like.
I grew up at a place in Brooklyn. It's a place called Gargiulo's, which was absolutely fantastic. And again, just homey, but also elegant. It was white tablecloths, and the servers wore tuxes. My favorite thing about Gargiulo's, I don't know if you've ever heard it or been there.
I've heard of it.
Coney
I've
Island.
heard of
A
it.
lot of business gets done there of various types. Let's just put it that way. But also held my parents' 50th wedding anniversary there and had a great time. The Russo brothers, Frank, Tommy, they do a fantastic job. Shout out to anybody in New York who is watching or knows Gargiulo's. But at Michael's, when I was there for my 50th, I ran into, I don't know if you like him or loathe him, but former borough president of Brooklyn, Marty Markowitz, was there.
I know of him. I don't know Marty.
A real character, real kind of an ambassador for all things Brooklyn. So I was very happy to get a selfie with Marty
Very cool.
at Michael's of Brooklyn. All right, it is time for our first break.
Yes.
Let's talk about, it's Tuesday, which means Tropical Acres is running the half price
Yes,
wine
sir.
night. I don't know if you've ever been to Tropical Acres. It is an icon of the local food scene. Again, it's been there. They're celebrating their 75th anniversary this year. Opened in 1949, now run by the Studiali family. And if you're looking for great value, along with the best in hospitality, along with great dishes like their filet mignon, barrel cut filet, prime rib, roasted fresh every day. Again, you can't beat the value. A la carte is kind of a foreign language there. You get, anytime you order your main course there, it comes with a salad, choice of salad, and a side dish, and you get that all-inclusive price. You can't beat the deal, especially on a Monday and Tuesday, half-price wine night. And in the bar, get this, Roger, every night, Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6:30, hour there, where every drink in the house is half price, including your fancy schmancy brands like my Belvedere for my martinis. It's like only $8 for a martini with a Belvedere. You
Wow.
can't beat that deal. That's why we love Tropical Acres. Again, Valentine's Day reservations now open. Give them a call to get on the reservations book. 954-989-2500. 954-989-2500. Tropical Acres. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. It's right there west of the airport and 95 on Griffin Road. Open every day but Sunday. We love the Studialis and Tropical Acres.
First time I went there, I was
Oh.
12 years old.
Yeah.
My grandparents were retired in Dania. It was a Saturday night, and my grandfather took us there. And then we went to Jackson's.
Oh,
the
wow.
ice cream
That's the
parlor.
daily
That's a
dead.
combo,
That's the
yeah.
Dania
Yeah.
Daily Double
Yeah,
right there.
It was amazing. It was great.
See, we can find. Who
Well,
says
fully break bread and find common ground over pizza of all kinds. We're here at the pizza spot. Mike Lunchbox with special guest Rush Stone returns after this.
Food from a scratch kitchen, delicious drinks and house-made spirits from a craft bar, a great vibe inside and out with a spacious patio. I'm talking about Batch New Southern Kitchen and Tap, Fort Lauderdale, in the heart of the city at 525 North Federal Highway. It's open 7 days for lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch with classics like fried chicken and waffles and shrimp and grits, and creative items like pecan-crusted salmon and a fried green tomato BLT. And the drinks? Smooth sipping and so good. There's convenient free parking and a garage next door, happy hour at the bar, an entire patio, 4 to 7 Monday to Friday, and live music every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's pet and people friendly and with cozy fire pits for when the temperature dips. For reservations and more information, go to batchsouthernkitchen.com. Hey, it's Mayo here for Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. Since 1951, family owned for over 70 years, the home of freshness. I've been a customer for over 3 decades, and it's the place to go for poultry, steaks, meats, and of course, their unbelievable selection of fish and seafood. They've got it all. Key West pink shrimp, grouper, snapper, lobster, and of course, Florida stone crab claws of all sizes. Don't forget their famous fish dip and a full selection of prepared foods. It's located at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood, just across from the Seminole Classic Casino. Owner Doug Carter and crew will take great care of you. Make sure to check out their weekly specials and daily catch online at DelawareChicken.com. Quality, value, freshness, that's the Delaware way. Tell them Mike Mayo and the Lunchbox sent you. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, that's my spot. It's upscale food in a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have daily happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. Italian food in a beautiful beachfront setting. Have I got the place for you? Casa Calabria at the Ocean Manor Resort, 4040 Galt Ocean Drive in Fort Lauderdale. Highly rated across all the restaurant review platforms and totally Mike Mayo's Lunchbox approved. Delicious, authentic Southern Italian food in a cozy dining room overlooking the Atlantic. Live music in the lounge, full bar, and a great wine list. Owner Frank Talrico takes great pride in his family recipes from his native Calabria. Fresh fish and seafood, veal, house-made pastas, and marinara sauces smooth as silk. You gotta try the imported meats and cheeses on the antipasta platters, and don't miss that ricotta gnocchi. Fluffy little pillows straight from heaven. Casa Calabria, open for dinner Tuesday through Sunday, closed on Mondays. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Hey, it's Mike Mayo. When the Brooklyn boy in me wants a good bagel with Nova or some matzo ball soup, homemade knishes, or a great deli pastrami sandwich on rye, you know where I go? Grandpa's Cafe in Dania Beach. It's been around a long time, an institution, but a little over a year ago, a pair of New Yorkers came in, bought it, and refurbished the place. It's beautiful, and they are now serving great breakfast, brunch, lunch. They've got the omelets. They've got eggs Benedict. They've got all kinds of great baked goods like rugelach. Grandpa's is just off Federal Highway on Southwest 1st Street in Dania Beach. It's open 7 days. Go in there, tell them that the Lunchbox sent you.
All right, we're back on the Lunchbox.
plate.
It's a special road edition at the Pizza Spot. Our friends Wade and Reese here. Again, what's the address? 601 Southwest 12th Avenue. A little bit hard to find, but what is it, Luby?
I don't know why you always say that. With
totally
GPS, you can get here
easy
very
to love.
easily. It's very
Yeah,
easy.
you find it on GPS, and again, it's
Very
tucked in a little corner, nestled
Well
in
worth
that
well worth the search.
Yes.
Riverside Park neighborhood. It is really easy to find once you put it into the GPS. 601 Southwest 12th Avenue in the Riverside Park neighborhood. We're here with Roger Stone, and people say, why do we care about what Roger Stone thinks about pizza? Oh, why do we care about anything given some of the things that he's been involved with? What would you say to some of those detractors?
Why would I care about what they think?
Touche.
That's it.
I mean, it's a free world. People are entitled to think whatever they want. They're entitled to eat whatever they want. If they want great pizza, then they should listen to us, because this is the among the greatest pizzas in South Florida. And as I said earlier, it's the style of pizza I grew up with. It's classic New Haven style, really outstanding.
Do you differentiate between the styles? Because it's funny. I always liked the New York, and I I sort of was okay with some of the different ones, but doing the show with him, we've tried a lot of the different kinds. And to me, like he says, pizza's pizza. It's hard to find bad pizza. What do you do with the different styles? Detroit,
Well,
Chicago.
take for example one of my favorite pizza places in the country. I've been every place you mentioned in New York. I've been to, by the way.
Okay.
That's how much of a fanatic I am.
About the pizzas. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
John's of Bleecker Street.
Yeah.
Where they put the tomato sauce on after they've cooked the pie.
Right.
And then to finish it with is among my favorites.
It's great.
Before they used to take cash only. I don't know if they take credit cards now. I was there in a blizzard once. This was probably in the late 80s. I had no boots. I was staying on Central Park South, but I so craved the pizza. I took plastic bags and rubber bands and put them on my feet.
Oh, wow.
And I walked because there were no cabs. The blizzard was that bad. I walked all the way to John's.
That's impressive.
First, I called to see if they were open. They were. The place was empty. It was amazing. Amazing.
It's a place that I
dedication.
had a friend, a high school buddy, and I went to school in the city at Stuyvesant High. And we lived, his mom had an apartment right across the street from John's on Bleecker Street. And we basically, again, this accounts for why I'm sprouted into the physical specimen that I am. But I, during high school, stocked up on a lot of John's pizzas. And the thing about New York pizza, again, people hear New York, and there's really a lot of different varieties there. You've got the slice joints where the pizzas are coming out of those steel deck ovens, the Baker's Pride ovens. And then you've got the old school joints like John's and Totono's in Coney Island and Patsy's and Patsy Grimaldi's that are using the old school coal-fired ovens. And those are only pie joints. You can't get a slice at a place like that. So
1984, Ronald Reagan had a rally in Hoboken, and Frank Sinatra was the main speaker. And Frank had not been back to Hoboken for many years. He had some falling out with the city fathers, but Nancy Reagan convinced him to come back. She spoke at the rally, and on the way back, he said, "Kid, we got to make a detour. We're going to Teterboro." "Really?" "Yeah, you know Grimaldi's under the bridge?" "Yeah, we got to go there." Frank took 4 pies to go on his private jet.
how did they travel? Are they okay? Because like some of these pizzas, it's like you got to eat them fresh from the oven. But I guess if
in
you're
all honesty,
Sinatra-
as soon as we got back in the car, Frank opened a box and he started.
can't resist. All right. Well, since you brought up the analogy, if somebody, if choice like getting a really good fresh baked pie from John's or Grimaldi's or bad sex, which are you going for?
I'm going for the pizza. Now, maybe when I was 25, I might have given you a different answer.
What do you get?
Oh my! All right. Well, you were asking about Chinese food, so you are a man of, I guess, different
Varied tastes, obviously.
varied tastes, and
I
spending
love-
time in New York. Do you have a Chinese place, like hole in the wall or upscale place in New York that's your regular?
I haven't lived in New York since 2020, or at least had a place there. I really don't. I like Cantonese Chinese, good old fashioned, the basics: rice, sauce, chicken chow mein. I know it's not that stylish, but I love it.
Right.
I really do like Christine Lee's.
They have the best spare ribs.
One of
The
his
best
favorites.
one of my all-time favorites inside the Gulf Stream.
Gulf Stream
Yes.
Park. Yep.
Excellent ribs, particularly.
Yeah,
But also an egg roll that isn't anemic. See, egg
Yeah,
rolls
that's a problem. They're annoying now.
they become anemic. I mean,
Yep.
an egg roll
I'm
used
not
to
getting
be
pork in it at all.
like to be the size of a beer can, but not anymore.
No, and again, a lot of people are miffed because they grew up with egg rolls that had all kinds of diced
Pork,
pieces
yes.
of pork in it, and now all
shrimp,
they see
or
is
shrimp.
cabbage, and
Right.
carrots, and maybe one little strand of chicken, or something. It's not like it used to be. Christine Lee's is kind of an old school Chinese American Cantonese joint. Again, Mary runs the show now, but her mom was Christine and had a place in Elizabeth, New Jersey. Their backstory was Christine got mugged and attacked one night in the parking lot of the restaurant in Elizabeth and said it's time to leave New Jersey. And she found digs down here first at I guess it was the Thunderbird Hotel in Sunny Isles, and they've moved around, ended up at Gulfstream, and now on the bottom floor. But Mary upholds the family tradition, and besides having the great spare ribs, then the egg rolls, they also do a proper job if you get the special wonton soup, because that's another one of my
favorites as
I
well.
miss
beefs these
good
days is
wonton soup.
all day. Now you just get things that is just like dishwasher liquid, a couple of wontons, and maybe a couple of diced scallions if you're lucky. But at Christine Lee's, you still get the full greens. If you get the special soup, it's got loaded with wontons and like chicken and pork and shrimp.
I
and all
go
that.
I go for the roast pork yakame soup.
Yakame, that's good.
Unbelievable.
Nice.
Just
Nice.
nice slabs of Chinese roasted pork. People don't understand that Chinese spare ribs are not grilled. They are baked in the oven. When the sugar caramelizes, that's what gives it its flavor, as opposed to ribs, American style, which are grilled on a grill.
So we were talking during the break that you were always on the hunt for decent Chinese food. The kind of place that you might like, I was telling you, is called Hong's Barbecue. It's on Sterling Road, just west of 441, near the Hard Rock complex, where they have all the roasted ducks and sides of like the ribs, and also the full pork bellies and full roasted pigs that they'll chop up. It's just like you would see hanging in the windows at Mott Street in Chinatown.
Wow.
Their fried rice and stuff isn't as good. I wouldn't get like some of the things like the shrimp and lobster sauce there, but I would definitely go there for all the roasted meats. That's been one of my favorites that I've been kind of telling people on the group. And then you are a fan of Mainland.
Mainland's great. Mainland's really good. It's off of University in Coral Springs. It feels nicer, but you also feels like you get the smaller scale Chinese as well. This in taste, and they do a really good job. It's out west.
I'll check both of them out.
Yeah, and then also two other places along 441 near Commercial Boulevard in Central Broward is Silver Pond and
I've heard of this.
Hong Kong City Barbecue, and both of them are
Both get
also
rave
what they
reviews,
call
rave reviews.
New York style, Cantonese. The regular menu for the American crowd, and then they have the Chinese,
Oh, really?
menu where they have some more
that's
offbeat
cool.
dishes like they'll do shark fin soup is technically illegal, but they do all kinds of sometimes specialties that you don't see every day at your neighborhood Chinese shop.
Christine's does a shrimp and lobster sauce with the brown sauce.
Oh, that's the Boston style, which people are always clamoring for.
Yeah, I love
You
that.
don't get that anywhere.
Yeah, and a lot of people on the group they say, "Oh, you can't find that here." Well, all you got to do is ask, because a lot of people will
They'll do it.
make it.
Oh,
We'll make the
interesting.
browns instead of the clear glop with just a lot of
That's right, the
cornstarch.
first had it was in Boston. You're right about that.
Yeah, it is. They call
They
it
call it Boston
Boston
style.
style. I first had it on several trips to the combat zone late at night, which was right next to Chinatown in my days at Tufts University. And there was some good late night Chinese restaurants up there in Boston. And I'm of the opinion, I don't know, you're obviously you can pretty much find good anywhere and everywhere, right?
Yes, but I really think South Florida is underrated. There's nothing that you can find anyplace else in the country that you can't find that is just as good as here. I mean, you can find great Italian, great Chinese, great steak. It doesn't matter.
Well, and when that's something we've talked about in his group, in South Florida, people will literally post, "You can't find any good anything here." And
That's just so
we roll
wrong.
our eyes because it's not only ignorant, it's just lazy. Because that's the thing. It's not just in one area, all of South Florida. It's literally the pockets of South Florida. I live out west. We've grown. We have a great Indian. This is suburban South Florida. We have great Indian. We have great Peruvian. Like, let alone the Italians and the Chinese, the standards. Like anywhere in South Florida, you're getting some kind of pretty special food from all walks of life. It's just people have the nostalgic background of I ate here when I grew up, and that's cool. When you travel, you start to see you sort of blow away.
The truth. I used to go when I lived in New York. I would go to J.P. Mellon's for the burger.
Oh, what a great burger that is!
I go to P.J. Clark's for the burger. I go to the
Standards.
Beach Cafe for the burger.
Did you ever go to Corner Bistro for their burger
I
down
did.
in the West
I did.
Village? That was
I-
one of the big three with J.G.
I did.
Mellons and
I had to wait
PJ.
in line, but I did. Right here in Fort Lauderdale, Gilbert, 17th Street.
Oh, there you go.
That's one of the best burgers. I've ever
Lenore
had.
one of our
and
sponsors.
Richie and family are one of our sponsors. We just did a show there last week.
Yep, they do as good a burgers as anyone.
Fill me up with all their great stuff, and it's not just burgers there. They do a great job with
They
all
have a full
their
menu.
salads and stuff like that. But they do have
Great
a
fish.
terrific burger.
I think the best burger.
So I'm glad. You know what? You do know what you're talking about when it comes to food.
Especially since he's praising our sponsors.
How can we be so different when it comes to some different other parts
That's just
of,
life,
of
man.
life? And
It is what it
I
is.
can't help that you're in a minority. This is your problem.
it's true. I'm Jewish. I'm in a minority. Let's
I'm
talk
asking
about.
my
At
Hey,
least I don't have a condiment named after me.
That is
no,
right. Very
and
true.
believe me,
That
I've
is
never
very
heard that
true.
one growing up.
Babu.
Hold the mayo, right? That's it. Hold the mayo. Let's take our second and final break today. But first, I want to talk about our good friends at Batch New Southern Kitchen
there tomorrow.
and Tap. I don't know if you've checked that place out, downtown Fort Lauderdale. Southern cuisine, but they have all kinds of healthier dishes too. So a Batch is at 525 North Federal Highway. We're going to be in there tomorrow with
Tomorrow.
Kevin and Brandon. If you go in there, you could say, "Let's go, Brandon." And
I like it.
Oh, jeez.
no, Brandon and Kevin are totally they've revamped, reworked the menu. They have the craft cocktails with their own pecan infused whiskeys. They make their own specialty cocktails like that, the whiskey sour using that pecan whiskey. I'm just hooked on that. I love it. You to go there. They have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday with the bottomless cocktails. They also have lunch and dinner. Great burgers. I had a great burger in there the other week. They call it the Dirty South, and it has this like cheese blend of both Gouda and cheddar in like a sauce. So it's kind of like more of a liquidy thing that they put on top along with these fire and ice pickles. You know what a fire and ice pickle is, Roger?
Not familiar. Not familiar.
It is a new Southern thing where they kind of sweet pickles, but they brine it in a kind of like a spicy jalapeno vinegar, so you get a real kind of fiery, spicy edge to them. That was a great burger. Batch open 7 days a week. We're going to be there tomorrow. Come on out and
Yes,
say
sir.
hello to us when we're doing the show. And we're going to be there at 1 o'clock tomorrow. But they're open 7 days a week. They have entertainment, music every Wednesday through Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. They have all kinds of great happy hour deals and other specials. Whiskey Wednesday. We'll be there tomorrow for Whiskey Wednesday.
Yes, sir.
We like that too. Batch, New Southern Kitchen and Tap. And don't forget, free parking in the garage that is right on
across
that
the
side street there. You get 4 hours, so you don't have to worry about sweating out, paying
meter
for any
and
kind
that
of
nonsense.
meter or, walking across the street to go to a lot. It's all right there on that side street. Batch, New Southern Kitchen and Tap.
More with Roger Stone on Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, live from the pizza spot here in Fort Lauderdale after this.
Grill at Meisner Park in Boca Raton, located at 404 Plaza Real. Since 1991, delicious modern American cuisine in a stylish yet casual setting. The outdoor patio and lively bar is the place to see and be seen at Meisner. It also features a sushi bar and a dry-aged steak program. Don't miss their long-term signature dishes like radiatore pasta and bacon-wrapped meatloaf. So good. Open daily with live music Wednesday through Saturday evenings and a great weekend brunch. For reservations and more information, go to maxsgrill.com. For Gilbert's 17th Street Grill, you know me, I love family-run places with quality food at fair prices served with passion and pride. And that's why I love Gilbert's. For more than a decade, Lenore, Beth, and Richie Gilbert have been serving up the best burgers, wings, ribs, salads, and desserts. It's a fast casual spot. Everything prepared fresh to order from an immaculate open kitchen. They're at 1821 Cordova Road in Fort Lauderdale in the Cordova Shops just south of 17th Street. Open every day but Sunday. One of my favorite burgers in South Florida. Big, round, juicy pucks of 100% Angus beef, char grilled to perfection. And don't miss the sweet potato fries on the side. They're legendary. Go to Gilbert's, feast, and be happy. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally. And they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks, they're open every day but Tuesday. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. If you're looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more, go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 in the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6. The early bird special runs from 4:30 to 5:30, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to Tropical Acres. Tell them the Lunchbox sent to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial, serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, oh, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Do you like burgers? Do you like wings? Do you like late night food and sports on big screen TVs and cold beer and friendly vibe and great people? Then you want to check out Shenanigans, 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. Go to Shenanigans, you get yourself all the good stuff, the fresh fish every day, the black and grilled wings, and of course, the kitchens are open late. Go there, tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you.
All right, we're back on the Lunchbox with Roger Stone. Before we finish up for today, just got to put in the good word about our friends at Delaware Chicken and
Yeah, we were
Seafood
there
Farm.
last week, still tasting that stone.
They have been in business since the early 1950s. Doug Carter and his crew. Perfect place to go if you want to stock up for the big game, and if you're going to have any kind of party for the big game, which is going to be a week from Sunday. And of course, with Valentine's Day coming up, they're going to have their special Valentine's Day dinner for twos, the packages that has stone crabs and some key lime pie and red velvet cupcakes. What else is in that pack there? Because my brain is a little
That was
bit
it. No, it was the nice shrimp.
shrimp-
All they told us
shrimp-
was the nice shrimp,
stone
crabs,
crabs,
and then the
dessert.
desserts.
Okay,
That were fantastic.
I didn't know if you could always add on a
I'm
steak
sure,
because
yeah.
they have the beautiful
You can make your own there. I mean,
Angus beef that they sell. It's a beautiful place for whatever you want. I mean, obviously they're renowned for their fresh poultry and seafood, fish from waters near and far, great stone crabs, Key West pink shrimp, anything that you might want from the seas or land. They do that great, they have those they make in house turkey, chicken, sausage.
the roasted chicken we had last week was fantastic.
Roasted chicken is good. 4191 North State Road in Hollywood. It's been there a long time. They will get you in and out. They're open 7 days a week. Go to DelawareChicken.com for the weekly specials and the daily offerings. It's all on there. They'll say, hey, we got grouper in today, fresh from the West Coast, or we got halibut in from Alaska.
Branzino from overseas.
Branzino. They've got it all. Jose, the seafood manager, he takes great pride in bringing the freshest stock to you at the most reasonable prices. Have you been in there? That's
I have to try just for the halibut.
yeah, there you go.
Bravo.
We do love our affiliation with Delaware, and again, yeah, we thank them for 1 year of great sponsorship here on the Lunchbox.
Yes, sir.
All right, Roger. So we're talking about some other. I guess the you said the linguine with clams at Runway 84 is among the best you've had.
First of all, it's a dish, as you know, it's very simple, but it's easy to do wrong.
Yeah.
It's very easy to screw up. It does not include cream ever.
No. Some people do it, but
I'm not,
some people put ketchup on hot dogs too.
right, exactly.
Oh, what do you think about, since we're talking pizza? What do you think of
Food
pineapple on
mores.
pizza?
Food more.
Is that one of Stone's rules that never put pineapple on pizza, or you?
I would never put First of all, fruit does not belong on pizza. Vegetables belong on pizza. The other thing you don't do.
Tomatoes are fruit.
The other thing you don't do is you do not. If you're taking pie home, you do not put it in the refrigerator.
Okay.
You put it in the oven.
Oh.
And then you eat it the next morning. But you do not put it in the refrigerator because it makes it
So
soggy.
bacteria be damned. You don't
Yeah.
care what's lurking in the cheese.
You got to eat it one day. I mean, you can't. It's
Okay.
not going to hold for long.
I don't know what the health department would think of it if restaurants started storing their unused pizzas that way.
No.
However, I've been known to go into garbage cans and fish. Been in there for overnight back in my college days. Again,
I just think it makes it soggy. You have dinner. You're going to have it the next morning. First thing, I throw it in the oven.
so I was mentioning to you another place in town where I like the pizza. It's well regarded. It's kind of a cross between New York style thin crust and also maybe a little bit of the Neapolitan with a little bit more give in the middle. but Heritage in Fort Lauderdale and Reno, who's a complete nut. I think you would get along with
Yeah,
him.
very
Friend of mine.
outspoken.
Friend
He's
of
very
mine.
outspoken.
He likes me, and I like the pie, but I carry out. It's
Okay.
it's not a
So
scene
I
for
got to
me.
ask you, because obviously you're a man who has been in the news and has, been tried, convicted, and commuted and pardoned. But what's it
Because
like?
Roger Stone, nothing wrong. Go ahead.
And so what you said that sometimes when you go out, people, what
You
happens?
said they
So
don't
there's
like me there. What does that mean?
There's a certain well, I mean, there's a certain lack of civility. Look, if I went into a place and I saw Nancy Pelosi, I would leave her alone. I'd let her dine. I just, I mind
It
my
is
own
what it
business.
is.
See,
Yeah,
so,
it is
but
what it is.
some
But
would
it-
say
but
that
it's
there's
just-
a lack of civility in whipping up a torrent of crap of saying that the election that had been adjudicated and ratified
Why do you-
was stolen.
Why do you hate free speech? What do you have against free speech?
I don't have anything against free speech, but you can't yell fire in a crowded movie
and
house.
I've never done that. But still,
Hmm.
to go back to the simple question,
Yes.
in other words, if people want to call you names and it's verbal, that's fine. I don't like it. I think it's rude. I would never do it, but people do it.
Okay.
If
Wait,
you want
wait. You've
So people-
been
outspoken.
you're a disciple of Roy Cohen, and your whole methodology is deny and then attack, counterattack.
Still wouldn't stand up in a crowded restaurant and start calling somebody I didn't know names. I wouldn't do that.
So
No,
that's
and
where you.
neither
that's
would
the
I.
line.
And
That's
I would
the
sit
line.
down and
No,
talk
but-
with anybody.
no, but people do, and some people like to get physical, which is why I have to travel with security.
Oh, they will. They
See?
will actually cost you. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that crosses a certain line.
Well, but I guess, do you feel okay? Was it like that 20 years ago when you were working with, let's say, 20 years ago? I'm dating myself. 40 years ago with Reagan,
yeah,
or
Reagan.
No, actually, it's changed entirely. So when I lived in Washington D.C., I had many friends, who were national Democrats, worked for the Democratic Party. We worked against each other in elections. We drank together, we ate together, we teased each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes
they won. They would say, "We'll get you next time." Sometimes they would win, and they would say, "We'll get you next time." Those days of civility.
right, it was
are
the
just-
famous Tip O'Neill and Reagan would, they were friendly. They were good friends. They would actually socialize, right?
Correct. So I just don't think
So what
that doesn't-
happened?
our politics became polarized. I think this.
Do you have yourself partly to blame for that?
I don't think so, but I too I do believe. I don't think Bill Clinton should have been impeached for having sex with an intern in the Oval Office. I think that was
You
a
think
bad
that
move.
set a weird standard?
I think it began a
it brought
standard.
personal life into politics.
And by the way, I blame Newt Gingrich, who I'm not a fan of, for that.
Okay.
I think Clinton did some things that probably did rise to the level of impeachment, but that did not. And I think that begins the decline in the civility of our politics.
we cross-pollinated our personal
And
life.
by the way, I
into
said that
politics.
at the time. By the way,
And it's also something that you see at the state level. Tallahassee, it used to be that a lot of the Dems and Republicans would socialize
yeah.
and go out
I
to
worked for
dinner
Senator
together.
Geller. In and out of his office, they were buddies. They would go to the
And
bar
when I was
together.
covering the news column, and I did that back from 2002 to 2016, but in those early aughts, in the 2005, there was that civility and camaraderie. But now it's like the two sides they've demonized each
sides.
other and villainized each other so much. How do we get out of that, or
I think
can we get out of that?
part of it is the fact that the parties have become polarized. So Florida used to have moderate Republicans and conservative Republicans, and it used to have conservative Democrats and moderate Democrats. Now that's not really true anymore. There are virtually
Yeah, there's not really any moderate.
there's no conservative Democrats and there are no liberal Republicans, no moderate Republicans. The two parties have become more like Britain, where you have a right party and a left party. So what I really don't like is the fact that this state used to have the best sunshine laws in the country. Any taxpayer could find out anything about any government meeting or any government expenditure. This is something DeSantis has ruined.
Oh no!
Try to find out how your tax dollars are being spent. Try to get the
No,
minutes.
he
of
had
public-
COVID numbers. I mean,
They've now made it so that to get a public records request they have the right to bill you for it. They have now,
and then they'll deny it.
They tax out the little. I mean, it's a time where they impose fees on poor and middle class people that no longer. And even I'm counting the Fourth Estate in journalism is now among the poor people because they can't
Honestly, you
afford
can't
a lot
afford
of
it.
these records requests anymore. And where is that leading us?
So I used to be able to tell, for example, where the state airplane was.
Right.
Where does it go? How much does it cost? Where are the state police going? I mean, have they, if the governor is taking them on a political trip to Iowa, is he reimbursing the taxpayers of Florida? You can't learn that anymore.
So, okay, things have gotten obviously more extremist on both sides because of the way the system and even the campaign contributions and everything is set up, the primary system. But one of your rules was people want government out of the boardroom and the bedroom.
Correct.
What happened to the Republicans now? Because once Roe was overturned, it seems like every election now is gone against Republicans who have helped enable that to happen. Does that square with what your vision of government should be?
I've always identified myself as a libertarian Republican. Go back and read any of my books. I think the government has no role in that. I've always said that.
So do you think
that's the fundamental, to me, conservative means keeping the government out of your private life, period.
So do you think that will end up being kind of a fatal Achilles heel, Pyrrhic victory, whatever you want to call it, for the Republicans, that they overturn Roe?
To piss everyone off.
Well, first of all, it should not be misrepresented as making abortion illegal in every state in the country, which of course it's not. On the other hand,
it overturned well-established precedent.
There is no constitutional guarantee of an abortion. Sorry. Show me the words. Read it to me. It's not there.
All right.
However, reasonable restrictions abortion, I support. This 6-week ban that DeSantis has done here, I think that's bad public policy, and I'm against it.
All right, we've strayed far from pizza, but I do appreciate it.
But
I would be remiss if I didn't ask you one last thing, because you have been in the news again in the last couple of weeks about, I guess, a taped conversation dating back to October 2020 that took place at Cafe Europa.
Alleged. It's a fraud.
Let me just put out what the allegations are and what the tape purportedly showed, and then we'll get your response. But apparently you were talking about how, in order to send a message before the 2020 election, that some of Trump's biggest critics needed to be silenced and needed to die. And the two of them that you named allegedly was the representatives from California, Eric Swalwell, and of course Jerry Nadler from New York. And I guess the quote was Swalwell or Nadler has to die before the election. And you allegedly said that to Sal Greco, who's kind of become a friend of yours, former New York.
Allegedly, according to whom? According to a name source. First of all, I've sent it out for 3 individual analyses. I'm sure you're familiar with artificial intelligence.
Of course. Deep fakes, shallow fakes, deep states, deep dish pizza, thin sliced pizza.
But it can do a lot of things.
So first of all, I've never said those words. So anybody who will objectively listen to it or look at the actual analysis that I had done and posted online will see that I never said that. And so it's your contention that it's AI intelligence that was used to mimic your voice and dub over a tape and drop in restaurant noise in the back. Now, if it were recorded, of course, is a 2-party state, it would be an illegal recording, but I specifically categorically denied it. By the way, it was 4 years ago. 2 days later, we have Joe Biden in a voice calling New Hampshire voters, urging them not to vote. That's a fraud too. But that's the use of AI. That's not calling for somebody's death. But again, you're saying that you didn't do it, that you didn't say it. That's not. Do you repudiate violence associated? Of course I do. Of course I do. Because there are some who say that you helped stoke the events leading to the insurrection on January 6th. Those people would be wrong. I exercised my First Amendment right to the anomalies and irregularities in an election. Everyone has the right to do that. Everyone. Okay, and by the way, it was here by the Democrats in the state in 2018. And just to clarify, go back to the latest because it just got recently reported. It dates to 2020, October of 2020. It allegedly did. Why would we believe that? One thing we got to point out is that both of those individuals are still alive, so no harm did come to either of them. But I'm going to ask this: the climate now going into this upcoming election, it's obviously heated. Are you going to tone down what's your relationship with Trump right now? Does he? I think my relationship is quite good with him. There's nothing in my rhetoric that I think needs to be toned down. Now, the same media outlet that criticized me picks up a hot mic in which cops outside the courthouse in D.C. are joking about assassinating Donald Trump. So are they going to tone that down? I think everything should be toned down. I think we should be eating more pizza who those folks are? And forget all the yelling and screaming. I also don't want to see, innocent,
innocent. I don't want to see people getting hurt or
Yeah.
killed.
Well, that's the thing.
when
We got to
when
go. And
rallies get together.
we
But yeah,
went in this direction, but we waited to the end to go in this direction. So appreciate Rogers putting up this part when I know he's looking forward to talking.
no,
pizza.
and I just thought it. I would be remiss.
I'm not chastising him. I'm actually curious because he said a lot of things that make a lot of sense and that we agree with. He's aware that politics and the world in general is very different now as before, and he actually made a good point. The Clinton thing sort of did, but people always sort of knew presidents did stuff, and no one ever either cared or wanted to look into it, and that was an interesting benchmark in our history. You admit to that, right? That it's just a different time. We believe like politics is now like sports. It's like religion. It's like you don't talk about it, which we used to. People used to talk politics at the dinner table because it was interesting conversation, and now it's become this untouchable topic.
Are allowed to have different points of views.
But my question is, and you were sort of getting to that, and I want to jump off, knowing that people are so ready to jump into the fire for either side. Do you maybe not curtail? Are you more thoughtful in what you would say to a large crowd, just in case what could possibly be misconstrued from what you're saying?
I speak a lot publicly.
Yeah.
I post all of it on social media.
Yeah.
You're welcome to go look about it.
Yeah.
I talk a lot about my redemption in Christ. People say, "Oh, that's corny. That's trite. That's phony." I care what you think. I care what he thinks. It's up
when
to
did
me.
that happen?
Back in 2020,
Okay.
when I realized that I was being lynched, that I had broken no law, and that I couldn't get a fair trial, that all of my proposed defenses were disallowed by the judge.
You had bow tie. My man, Bruce Rogow was
Yes.
your lead defense attorney. Right? Was Grant on your team also?
Grant was on my team.
Yeah.
Bruce Rogow is a great guy, but the DC system, I mean, we did learn after my conviction that the lead juror who claimed in jury selection and during the trial, she had no idea who I or anything about my trial, had been attacking me on social media, but had it on a private setting during selection and during the trial.
All right, we're not going to relitigate something, but look, it reminds me of something that used to sit on the placard that used to sit on the desk of Scott Rothstein, where I guess you and Grant were based at during a little time. Of course, Scott, we don't know where he is, but he's still serving.
Somewhere, probably sipping.
He's found his way.
Little drinks with umbrellas.
Are you thinking he's in Guam? You think he's been sprung?
I have no idea.
Okay. But all I know is he had a little placard on his desk that said, "A good lawyer knows the law. A great lawyer knows the judge." I would amend that to a really great best lawyer has a defendant who knows the president. So that might be
doesn't hurt.
a lesson of the day.
I'll go with that.
All right. Roger, I appreciate you sitting here, and you do know your food, and you do know pizza.
Your food.
And I give you, again, props. I enjoyed it. I hope you did as well.
Yeah, it was fun.
All good. All right. Thank you, my man.
Thank you.
Tomorrow will be a batch, so check us out there.
Batch tomorrow. Grant Smith, thank you. Everybody out there, thank you for tuning in
thanks
for a little bit different.
Out.
And enjoy every meatball, enjoy every pizza, and enjoy every sandwich.